Billionaire loved her for years, but she was engaged to another man, until fate brought them together. Welcome to our channel. Before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below letting us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you and keep the conversation going. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and loved ones, and turn on post notifications so you never miss any of our future videos. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. 6 years ago, in the heart of New York City, William Russo stood in a crowded coffee shop, his tailored suit a stark contrast to the cozy chaos around him. He was 29, already a billionaire CEO of Russo Tech, a company that built sleek smartphones and apps that connected the world. William was the kind of man who turned heads, tall, with sharp cheekbones, dark hair that fell just so, and hazel eyes that seemed to hold 1,000 secrets. But beneath the polished exterior, he was lonely. His days were filled with boardrooms and private jets, but his nights, those were spent wondering if he'd ever find someone who saw past the billionaire to the man. That's when he saw her, Elisa Martinez. She was behind the counter, her curvy frame moving with a grace that made the world slow down. Her dark curls bounced as she laughed with a customer, her warm brown eyes sparkling like they held a secret of their own. Elisa was 23, a part-time barista and full-time dreamer, saving up to open her own bakery. She was a Latina woman with a fire in her soul, vibrant, kind, and fiercely independent. Her smile could light up the gloomiest New York morning, and William? He was a goner the moment she handed him his black coffee and said, "You look like you need a cookie with this, on the house." He chuckled, caught off guard. "Do I look that miserable?" he asked, his voice low and smooth. "Nah," she teased, her lips curving into a playful grin. "You just look like you could use a little sweetness." That was it. 1 minute, one conversation, and William's heart was hers. He came back to that coffee shop every morning for a week, hoping to catch another glimpse of her. He learned her name from her badge, memorized the way she hummed while steaming milk, and noticed how she always gave extra whipped cream to kids. But he never asked her out. Why? Because William Russo, billionaire extraordinaire, was shy. Yes, the man who could negotiate billion-dollar deals froze when it came to asking out the barista with the dazzling smile. One day, he worked up the courage to say more than, "Thanks for the coffee." He leaned against the counter, trying to look casual, and said, "So, Elisa, what's the secret to making the perfect latte?" She raised an eyebrow, wiping her hands on her apron. "Love," she said with a wink, "and a little cinnamon." He laughed, his heart doing a flip. But before he could say more, another customer interrupted, and the moment slipped away. The next day he returned, ready to ask her to dinner. But when he walked in, Elisa wasn't there. The other barista said she'd quit to focus on her baking dreams. William's heart sank. He didn't even know her last name. For weeks he kicked himself. Why hadn't he said something? Why hadn't he left his number? He tried to move on, throwing himself into work. But Elisa's laugh haunted him. Her warmth, her spark. It was like a melody he couldn't forget. Little did he know, fate wasn't done with them yet. Fast forward 3 years. William was now 32, his empire bigger than ever. Russo Tech was a household name, and he was on every most eligible bachelor list in the city. But he still felt empty. He'd dated here and there, models, heiresses, women who chased his wealth. But none of them were Elisa. He wondered where she was, if she was happy, if she ever thought of that awkward billionaire who fumbled his words at her coffee shop. One crisp autumn evening, William attended a charity gala at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The room was a sea of glittering gowns and tuxedos, chandeliers casting golden light over the crowd. He was there to donate, as always, but his heart wasn't in it. He sipped his champagne, scanning the room out of habit, when he saw her. Elisa. She was across the room, her curvy figure draped in a deep red dress that hugged her like it was made for her. Her curls were swept up, a few strands framing her face, and she was laughing with a group of people. William's breath caught. She was even more beautiful than he remembered. But then he saw it, the sparkling ring on her left hand. His heart plummeted. She was engaged. He watched her from afar, unable to tear his eyes away. She was there with her fiancé, a slick lawyer named Derek, who seemed more interested in networking than in her. William overheard someone say Elisa owned a small bakery now, Elisa's Sweet Escape, a cozy spot in Brooklyn that was gaining a cult following for its tres leches cake and cinnamon-dusted churros. He smiled to himself, proud of her, even if she'd never know it. That night, he did something impulsive. He anonymously donated $50,000 to her bakery through the gala's silent auction, earmarking it for small business grants. He didn't want her to know it was him. He just wanted her to succeed. Over the next 2 years, their paths crossed in fleeting, maddening ways. William became a quiet guardian angel, finding excuses to help her without revealing himself. When her bakery needed a new oven, a random contest awarded her the funds. When her shop was featured in a local magazine, William's PR team had quietly tipped off the editor. He told himself he was just being kind, but deep down he knew the truth. He was still in love with her. One day he couldn't resist. He visited Elisa's Sweet Escape. The bell above the door jingled as he stepped inside, the air thick with the scent of vanilla and caramel. Elisa was behind the counter, flower on her cheek, laughing with a customer. She looked up and their eyes met. "Black coffee? No sugar?" she asked, tilting her head with a grin. He blinked, stunned. "You remember me?" "Of course," she said, her voice warm. "You're the guy who looked like he needed a cookie." He laughed, his cheeks flushing. "Guilty, but I'm here for, cupcakes?" She raised an eyebrow, clearly amused by his awkwardness. "Cupcakes, huh? Let me guess. Chocolate?" "Surprise me," he said, his voice softer than he meant. She handed him a box of red velvet cupcakes, her fingers brushing his for a split second. Electricity shot through him. But then Derek walked in, all slick charm and loud cologne, calling her babe and pulling her away. William left, cupcakes in hand, his heart heavier than ever. Elisa's life wasn't as perfect as it seemed. Derek was charming in public, but behind closed doors he was distant. He worked late, dismissed her dreams as cute, and seemed more in love with his career than with her. Elisa poured her heart into her bakery, but she felt alone. She thought of the mysterious stranger from the coffee shop sometimes, the one with the shy smile and kind eyes. She didn't even know his name, but something about him had stayed with her. One rainy afternoon, Elisa was struggling to fix a broken display case at her bakery. The repair would cost thousands, money she didn't have. She sat on the floor, surrounded by shattered glass, fighting tears. That's when William walked in, soaked from the rain, holding an umbrella he'd clearly forgotten to use. "You okay?" he asked, crouching beside her. She looked up, startled. "You're the cupcake guy." He grinned, a little sheepish. "Yeah, and you're the cinnamon latte lady," she laughed, wiping her eyes. "What are you doing here in this storm?" "Saw the shop was open," he lied. Truth was, he'd been driving by, hoping to catch a glimpse of her. "Need a hand?" They spent the next hour cleaning up the glass, laughing over her stories of baking disasters and his terrible attempts at cooking. For the first time in years, William felt like himself. Not the billionaire, just Will. And Elisa? She felt seen, not just as a baker or a fiancé, but as herself. Before he left, he slipped a business card into her hand. "If you ever need anything, repairs, a coffee, whatever, call me." She smiled, tucking the card into her apron. "Thanks, Will." He walked back into the rain, his heart pounding. He didn't realize the card would alter his life completely. A month later, Elisa's world fell apart. She caught Derek cheating with a coworker. Heartbroken, she ended the engagement, tossing the ring into the Hudson River in a moment of dramatic flair she'd laugh about later. She was free, but she felt lost. Her bakery was struggling, and she wondered if she'd made a mistake chasing her dreams. One evening, she found William's card in her apron pocket. On a whim, she called him. "Elisa?" He answered, his voice surprised but warm. "Hey, Will," she said, her voice shaky. "You said to call if I needed anything. Can we talk?" They met at a quiet park, the city lights twinkling around them. Elisa poured her heart out, about Derek, her fears, her bakery. William listened, his heart aching for her. "You're stronger than you know," he said softly. "Your bakery? It's not just a shop. It's you. Your heart. Your passion. Don't give up on it. She looked at him, her eyes shining with tears. Why are you so nice to me? You barely know me. He hesitated, then took a leap. Because I've known you were special since the day you gave me that cookie. I've never forgotten you, Elisa. Her breath caught. For a moment, they just stared at each other, the air electric. Then she laughed, a nervous, bubbly sound. You're telling me you've been pining over me for 6 years? That's some rom-com level dedication, Will. He chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck. Guilty, but I'm hoping this rom-com has a happy ending. Over the next few weeks, William and Elisa grew closer. He helped her save her bakery, not with money, but with ideas. Marketing plans, pop-up events, even rolling up his sleeves to frost cupcakes, which he was hilariously bad at. Elisa teased him mercilessly, calling him Mr. Fancy CEO when he got flour on his $2,000 suit. One starry night, they stood on the rooftop of William's penthouse, the city sprawling below them. He took her hand, his heart racing. Elisa, he said, his voice low, I've loved you for years. I don't want to wait another day to tell you. I want to be the one who makes you smile, who cheers for your dreams. Will you give me a chance? She grinned, stepping closer. Only if you promise to never try baking again. That last batch of cookies was a crime. He laughed, pulling her into his arms. Deal. They kissed under the stars, the city lights fading as their world became just the two of them. Fate had taken its time, but it had brought them together at last. And that's the story of William and Elisa, a love that waited, fought, and won. If you loved this billionaire romance, hit that like button, subscribe to Billionaire Romance Stories, and ring the bell for more heart-melting tales.